Welcome back to the saga of my chainsaw carburetor. So as we determined, the original carburetor, something was wrong with the way the mix needles lined up with their metering holes, so decided that carburetor was done. So I found a Walbro carburetor that was supposed to be able to replace it, and I had communication with the seller, place in Utah, that more or less confirmed he thought it would work. And then what he sent me was not a Walbro carburetor, but a Chinese knockoff that didn't even have the port for the fuel pump, the surge port. So I just sent it back, and I was perturbed. And then I found this previously used carburetor that's the exact unit, came in the same model chainsaw, and it looks like they just took it off the saw and has not cleaned it or anything. So okay, so you can see it's got the port right there where it needs to be, or else it won't run. And the one that I received from this guy had nothing there, so it would not have worked. This looks very clean, but mine did too. So I'm going to open it up, have a look at it, and see if the mix screws here do line up like they're supposed to. They do look straight if you look at the body of the carb, so hopefully it is. So I will take this open and see. Well, the good news is it looks like these needles go straight in, and I can see the tips of the needles through the holes in the port. So I'm going to see if I can show that to you. There we go. The needles are all the way in, and then if we turn this way, you can see the tips of the needles through the hole. It's exactly what we want. So obviously I don't know how and that happened in my original carburetor, but regardless, it looks like this one is in much better shape in that regard. And I'm going to open the other part where the pump is and just see if it needs anything replaced, because I just put a new kit on the original carburetor, and now it doesn't need to be there. So I can swap parts into this if I need to. So we'll have a look at it in a minute. Okay, I opened it up, and it's looking pretty good. The gasket is kind of stuck, so I'm hoping it will unglue without breaking. Now this may be one part or two parts. Mine was one. Okay. This is two. There's the flappers. That's part of the pump. Wow, pretty well glued on there, but it's coming off. Like I said, I do have a replacement if it were to be bad, but this looks okay. Got a little old gas in it, but it's little smelly, but doesn't seem like there's really any varnish. So it may have not been used in a while, but maybe not years. Get that old gasket off of there. Don't need that. But that's encouraging. I'm thinking this is going to work. So I'm going to finish taking pieces off of it and go ahead and check all the ports and blow them open, and then I'll put it back together and we'll try it. I wanted to show, I wrote down the settings on the mix screws, the throttle speed, high and low mix speed. Not very much open. And I wanted to show you, now that I have them all screwed all the way in, on the inside of those ports. Let's see here. Yeah. You see those needles sticking out through the holes. Very promising. Alright. Needles look clean and straight. One of my needles broke off because I tried to screw it in to force it straight in there, and because of that angle it just broke one of them off. It appears that the needles are the same exact size to me anyway, so I don't think it matters which one's which, but I'm going to leave it in its holder to keep them in the right order. I wanted to point out these tiny ports that are in this carburetor. You can see those 3 little holes, and they all come through this hole right there. See those little holes right there? And they just bored through. I mean, they're about the size of a human hair. So it wouldn't take much to clog those. I don't think they were clogged, but it's just amazing they can even drill such tiny holes. I mean, look at this compared to my finger, my cut up finger. Man, I get shot with needles bigger than that. Anyway, cleaned up real nice. I just used carb cleaner. I didn't dunk it. I didn't think it needed it. It's pretty damn clean. So I'm going to put it back together and we'll see what happens. Here's a comparison of the two. You can see the left leaning part of those screws there, and this, I don't want to focus that close, but it is nice and straight with the needles going in. See if there we go. Compared to this one. Alright, so now time to put the replacement carburetor in and see what happens. Okay, I haven't staged this. I just put it in there and choke it. Put some gas in there. And I'll put the ignition on. Let's check the fuel. Doesn't have a lot. That's been a problem before. Go put some in and we'll try it again.
Yeah, it was just about empty.
Okay, let's try this again. Well, putting the fuel right into the carb and watch what happens. Okay. So the pump component must be bad. So I'll take it back off. I'll put the new pump part on, see if that does it. Because it's just not pumping the gas from the tank into the carb. Okay, yeah, it was the actual pump diaphragm. It was, as Mr. Condon refers to, as petrified and glued to the metal seal cover. So, in trying to get it off with the putty knife, it just broke up into pieces. It's brittle. So, I imagine this diaphragm, even though it does flex some, it's lost its elasticity to pump properly. So, I had my brand new one, threw it in there, and see what happened. Success. So I have my 1985 Olympic chainsaw back in order. So I need to put the rest of it back together and cut a log with it. I can adjust the carb mix from there, see how it does under load. And with no chain, of course, it wants to rev up a lot faster. But success. Very happy that it's what we figured. Bad carburetor. Who knows how the heck it got that way. So we'll see you another time when I use it to cut something.